So we had someone on our team. We have a community post on YouTube, and this we can go on the philosophical ramifications of this. There's a community tab on YouTube. I don't watch it at all. We also have an Instagram that I don't watch at all. And somebody on our team posted a meme of Kevin Hart saying, "Can a woman make you a billionaire or millionaire?" I'm going to fuck this up. "Can a woman make you a millionaire?" And then the second part of it is, "Yes, if you're already a billionaire." Implying that the way that, women divorce you and take your money. Didn't know this was goes up. And I only found out about it because I very rarely check my core email just because we get so many emails. But whenever there's something like pointed negatively at me, it sometimes catches my eye.
How do you even go into the inbox?
I go into the inbox every now and then to check split tests for our TubeBuddy thing because it tells me when they're updated, and I'll just click that link. And I don't click the other emails.
Got it. So something brings you into that.
That
mess.
And so I click deeply disappointed in you. I'm like, oh, this should be good.
You're like, oh god, what did Ben put in the last video?
And I click, and it's this, and I don't know exactly what it's referring to when I go to the community post and I see this, and this is at night, and a number of thoughts that were just interesting to me. One is I experience, to a greater degree, I think what we all experience, which is that we exist in other people's minds, not as we are, right? And the attempt to manage what other people think of us is such a doomed enterprise. And part of having the smallest amount of fame possible is that you just get experiences like this over and over again. You're like, what am I supposed to do with this? Well,
you're in a weird spot because it's like, one, you're not as angelic and wonderful as a super fan might think you are.
Yeah.
And then two, you had nothing to do with this post. And so like I had this image of you that was amazing. You're like, well, I don't deserve that.
Yeah.
But now I hate you because of this post. You're like, well, I don't deserve that. So here we are.
And so I'm going through it, and then I'm thinking of like late at night, the philosophy of communication. Because I look at this post and I go, this isn't so really, like, who cares? This is to be upset about a community post with this is, from my personal Charlie Hooper perspective, silly. This is not something that I would walk into a room full of strangers and shout, because why? Mm-hmm. But it's also not a joke that I would find unfunny. In the right context and the right delivery, I could be like, this is funny. I have no problem with this.
It is off brand though, in the sense that Charisma on Command is not you. Charisma on Command
is what I was like wrapping my head around.
Well, yeah, it's a PC gender neutral place where anyone can come and learn charisma. And so I think the team who does this, I told them, like, just because you think it's funny, whoever you are that's on the team, doesn't mean you can post it, because that's not what this is. Like, this is not meant to be. This is what people come here for. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's kind of like if I was just playing League of Legends and then all of a sudden it was just popping up with a bunch of random jokes. It's like, well, that's not, I'm not here for that. I'm here to play League of Legends. So that was my only thing. It's like, yeah, you guys can send these jokes around to yourselves via text message, but just don't post them because it's not on brand.
Yeah. I ultimately agree, but I was sitting there thinking, I was like, we have, there's not a lot we could do, but this is just happens in today's worlds. We don't have like a spot in our brain for brand, like entity that exists independent of humans, that is just an amalgamation of incentives and different people that are moving in and out of an organization. It doesn't exist in the human hardwiring. And so what often happens, especially at the smaller level, is that a face becomes associated with a brand. So even like Amazon will do something at a policy level, and people will think that it necessarily reflects upon Jeff Bezos, the human.
I actually disagree. I think that for a lot of brands, we don't even know the founder. Like if Nalgene did something crazy, you would just go, oh, that's a Nalgene. Yeah. I actually think that this stems from the fact that we didn't have a team. It was just two guys. And so everything that happened, anything Charisma on Command did for a period of time, you or I had done or approved of. And then we grew and built a team. And I don't think people think that. I think they might still think you record all the videos and then edit the video yourself.
Sure.
Like even if an inappropriate B-roll came in there, I don't think they would necessarily go, oh, the editor did that. They would think, oh, or they would think the editor did that, and then Charlie or Ben reviewed it, which we don't. We have someone on the team review it. So I think it's because we started small and were responsible for everything. Because if we had started faceless the whole time, I think perhaps you wouldn't
I totally
have
agree.
that issue.
I totally
like
agree. I do think that there is a tendency that is like, yes, if you are a brand that doesn't have a human face
Just
at
make a
all,
product.
but even take Geico or something that like, I think brands tend to recognize, or Nike, that like will associate themselves with athletes, and then it will reflect upon that athlete stuff that Nike does.
Geico had a racist policy. We would all blame the gecko.
We play the gecko.
Yeah, completely agree.
There is I think an inborn tendency to just not totally grasp what an organization is. And so if there is an opportunity to attach it, even given the fact that I haven't been seen or heard on the channel in 6 months.
Well, people don't know the difference between our voices.
Well, sure. That's another thing. So that was just one thing, is that, man, like, what is this brand? And also, like, is a brand necessarily a lie? Because it's not, from our perspective, this is what I was wrestling with, because I'm going, okay, I didn't post this. Some people in the world think that I post this. Do I now step in and delete this? I don't have a problem with the post. I wouldn't have okayed it because it just doesn't fit. It's like, it does feel like walking into a room and shouting.
Oh yeah, I just
shouting
think,
that.
I just think it's
just kind of
it's just a bad
strange
call.
thing to do, and yeah, not worthwhile.
The other thing, though, we've talked about this before, a little tangential. This is even true with individuals. Bernie Sanders tweets something, and people get upset. I don't think Bernie Sanders is sending his own tweets. I don't think he's even signing off on his own tweets. I think he's reading legislation while a social media team does that. And so then if they say something inappropriate and it says it's from Bernie Sanders, I think you still can't get mad at Bernie Sanders because all he did was hire the person. But I don't think he's reviewing the tweets.
He probably hired the person who hired the person.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're reaching this weird age where even people's actual identities, their social media presence is not them. Like if you see a celebrity responding in the comments, it's not them. It's just some intern that they hired.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I was just thinking through the philosophy of communication. I was like, okay, if this were me and I had said this and I had chosen to say this and somebody was deeply upset in this step, if I had felt like this was the right place to say it, I am hesitant, that just the type of person I am, to apologize because someone is offended. I can apologize, and that people often find this half-hearted, but this is how I feel. Like, I can apologize that someone is offended, but I'm not good at being like, I regret saying that, because I want to be honest to my sense of, I don't want to betray my past self in that way. Like, I don't want you to be sad or upset, but also I have to be frank and truthful about the things that I think are right and wrong to say. And
well, personally,
I hope that I would have elected a good course of action if we were all in a room interacting with one another. But that's not the case. Like, 1, there's no room. 2, I didn't say this. Like, 3.
I think that's a habit a lot of people have to break.
Yeah.
Especially people who think that they're walked over or pushed over, or they feel like they don't get respect.
They need to do what I do, or they need to...
I think a bad habit...
I need to change.
I think a bad habit is to apologize when you're not sorry. That someone just tells you you're wrong. You don't think you did anything wrong, but you apologize. You just defer to their conviction. I think if you make that a habit, it can lead to low self-esteem or being walked over and taken advantage of. And I think that's a mistake that people make, is just to go, okay, I'm not actually sorry, but I will defer to your reality and apologize.
I don't know if it's wrong that other people do it, but that is how I feel personally. And then I was thinking about...
I used to do it.
Yeah.
I unlearned it purposefully because I do think it's harmful.
My sense of it as like, and then I was like, what is my philosophy of saying sorry? And for me, I can only apologize for an act when I actually think that it was wrong by my own moral standard and not by it having created an outcome that was unfavorable. And I intend to do differently. And in those occasions, in the future, and in those occasions...
Sorry, what was the first part?
When by my own standards, not just because of the reaction of people around me, like I have done something, that act was foolish or wrong in and of itself.
Well, I think foolish is important.
Foolish.
Because it could be, it could be sorry, I didn't have the intent to do this. I think back immediately to a college party where I slid across the dance floor and accidentally just took a friend out under the knees.
Yep.
It's like, I wasn't aiming for you, but I am genuinely sorry.
Yes.
And in hindsight,
That
I
was
shouldn't have
boneheaded.
done this.
Yes.
So there was no intent or ill will, but I also am, in hindsight, I shouldn't have done this.
I should not have done this, and I intend to behave differently in similar situations in the future because I learned something
That
about this type of
reckless
behavior.
dance move.
Versus, yeah. So in that situation, if I had done that and knocked someone out, even though I didn't mean to, that's it. I am sorry.
Yes.
I am sorry.
Yeah. Okay. I thought at first you were saying you had to have had reflect on your intent and realize it wasn't good.
But there was, I'll give you an example. My brother and I were arguing, as we often do,
I was gonna say.
on the roof in front of my mom. And my mom doesn't live with us. She was like, oh, what is going on? My family's breaking apart. And this is every day between he and I. And then 5 minutes later, do you want to play Apex? Yes, but you have to tell me that I'm amazing. Just shut up and get on. You know what I mean? It's like that's our that's how we do it. And she was upset by it. And for her, I was like, look, I'm sorry that you're upset, which I know that people often feel as a cop-out, but that is what I am sorry for in that situation. Like, I do not deeply regret nor intend to change
Bickering with your brother.
bickering with my brother because it has upset you. And so I'm reflecting on what sorry means, multiplied by the fact that I didn't do this thing, but seems that I have done this thing. Mm-hmm. But also, it was just, an interesting philosophical thing. And one of the things that I think I had to wrap my head around is I really need to push back on the credit that I get for charisma on a command. Because while I am a large creator of some of the things, I told you in the past, there was a girl, you know this.
Oh yeah, this is awesome.
Who on a dating app, you can send something that you want to when you're contacting someone. She said, "Oh my God, I love your video on Chris Hemsworth. I watch it all the time." And it's like,
I made that one.
That's awesome. I didn't make that video. And we didn't, I didn't, it just, she wasn't my type for whatever reason, but we didn't go out or anything like that. But
I like to think that she's a huge fan, has dozens of favorite videos, just happen to pick that one. And then I really wanted you to write back and just say, oh, that's a bummer. I didn't make that video, so I guess we shouldn't go out. Just to have her be like, no, wait, I meant the Jordan Peterson one. No, wait,
sorry,
I meant
didn't do that one.
Don Draper.
No.
Please.
And I wouldn't have taken credit from that, but I didn't have the same, I thought it was funny and I told you, but I do have to, just really in my head, they talk about when you get negative comments, one of the ways to deal with negative comments is to also stop taking the positive ones so seriously, because they both are coming from a flawed, imperfect perception. And they both contain sometimes valuable points of feedback, things that you can do better, things that you can grow from, but you do have to disconnect, I think, evenly from them in order to have a healthy perspective on feedback from the world. And that was just something that I was like, okay, yeah.
That said, please keep making positive comments on the podcast and the YouTube channel. Because when other people get to the channel, it would be a bummer if they only saw negative comments because Charlie's constantly dissuading positive ones.
No, I don't mean to dissuade any comments. And the ones I'm more aware of the podcast stuff. But so, yeah, I think everybody experiences being misperceived, just flatly misperceived. And I think it's unfortunate when it's occurring on a scale that you could potentially imagine fixing, because then it creates behaviors that cause you to think that you could have total control over the way that people see you, and you could micromanage that. And one of the blessings of having had a large audience is that it has caused me to go this is just officially at a scale that on my best day with my most perfectly chosen words, I cannot control.
I think it's something everyone wrestles with, though. I think you make a joke and people take it the wrong way, or you're nervous and so you make a bad impression. I imagine a lot of people can reflect on a time where they're like, I really feel like this didn't represent me. And if you only got to see the real me, and so now if I could just show you the real me, you would want to be my friend or mentor or, date me or whatever.
Or not hate me. Yeah. That's the other thing. I think that people probably have this healthy desire to just make sure that there's no one wandering around in the world with just an awful, vile opinion of them, and that's a healthy feeling to have in small groups.
It's a necessity if you live in a tribe.
Yeah.
If you're in a tribe of 50 people, it's a very, very good instinct to make sure none of them have a negative opinion of you.
Yeah. And it breaks as you scale.
Yeah.
It goes from an adaptive way of approaching the world to a maladaptive way of approaching the world. So let me think.
That scale doesn't even have to be famous, by the way. It could just be living in a big city. because then I think that's also where that fear of approaching someone you're attracted to comes from. It's this idea that, oh, if we were in high school still and we had 100 people in our graduating class and people found out that I asked 2 people out and got rejected, this is going to hurt me in my high school career, right? But now you live in New York or Philly or Miami or whatever, and you still have that instinct. It's like, no, you can go talk to people and have it not go well and then just keep living your life unaffected. And I think people have a disproportionate fear of rejection because it doesn't feel like that emotionally, even though they know it in their brain.
Yeah. 100%.
It doesn't feel like you can just go,
start over,
shoot your shot, have it go terribly, walk away and be completely unaffected. So that's why you have this weird social anxiety that has no actual consequences, but feels extremely real.
Hope that you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to see more like this and have us do more podcasts, we are 100% funded by our generous patrons. And if you'd like to contribute, there's a link in the description, and we'll have one pop up on the screen right here so that we can do more podcasts where we have fun conversations and hopefully some deep ones like this. Either way, hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.